Get up. Ha! Good, other wing. I'm with you. Good, up. Get up, B. Hey, I got it. Come on, Mac. Come on.
The reaction to Bronny James' leaked workout footage was immediate, loud, and honestly kind of shocking, because within minutes of the clips hitting social media, NBA fans everywhere started debating the exact same thing. Are we finally watching Bronny turn the corner into becoming a real NBA contributor? That's what made this moment feel different from all the other offseason videos people usually scroll past. This wasn't just another celebrity gym run or a few random jump shots edited together for Instagram. The energy around these clips felt real, and the basketball world noticed it instantly. For months, people have questioned where Bronny James actually stands as a player. Not as LeBron James' son, not as a social media name, as an actual basketball prospect trying to survive in the NBA. That conversation has followed him non-stop since high school. Every move he makes gets overanalyzed because of the last name on the back of the jersey. Some people root for him because they want to see the father-son story succeed at the highest level. Other people wait for every bad game just so they can say he only got opportunities because of his name. There's almost no middle ground when it comes to Bronny James. That's why this leaked workout footage exploded online so quickly. Fans weren't just reacting to a player making shots in an empty gym. They were reacting to visible improvement. Bronny looked stronger physically. His handle looked tighter. His movements looked more controlled and more explosive compared to earlier clips from last year. Even his confidence looked different. You could see it in the way he attacked drills, the way he rose into jumpers, and the way he moved without hesitation.
Bronny James, to me, is the most interesting thing going on. We're all waiting to see what happens with his...
And people immediately started comparing these clips to what they saw from him during his rookie development period. Earlier in the year, there were moments where Bronny looked hesitant offensively. You could tell he was trying to figure out NBA speed while also avoiding mistakes. That's normal for young guards, especially guards who are trying to earn trust defensively first. But in these leaked sessions, the hesitation looked gone. He was playing free, reacting naturally, and attacking workouts like somebody who finally feels comfortable in his own game again. This is where it gets dangerous, because NBA fans fall into the same trap every offseason. They see workout footage and immediately start projecting superstardom before a player even earns consistent rotation minutes. NBA history is full of players who looked incredible in private runs but struggled once real games started. Controlled workouts are one thing. NBA game speed is completely different. Defenses are smarter, rotations are tighter, and mistakes get punished immediately. But even with all that being true, it's still impossible to ignore how much better Bronny looked in these clips.
With Bronny, I want to clarify one thing you just said, which is Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this, right? Bronny talks about his hard work. Bronny has earned this through hard work.
The biggest thing people noticed was his jumper. His shot looked smoother and quicker compared to earlier appearances. The release looked more natural. The rhythm looked cleaner. Instead of pausing or second-guessing himself, he looked comfortable firing from deep without thinking twice. And confidence matters a lot more than people realize for young NBA guards. Once a player starts believing the shot is going in, the entire game changes for them. Defenders close out harder, driving lanes open up, and the offense suddenly starts flowing differently around them. There were also flashes of improved athleticism that caught people's attention. Bronny looked more explosive attacking downhill, especially in transition drills, where he showed much better burst getting to the rim. That matters because one of the biggest concerns around him entering the NBA was whether he had enough offensive explosiveness to consistently create against pro-level defenders. In these clips, at least visually, he looked faster and more decisive. And then came the reactions from NBA fans online. Some people were genuinely stunned. You had fans saying this was the best Bronny has looked since entering the professional level. Others started predicting that he could become a real rotational player much sooner than expected. Of course, there were skeptics too, there always are with Bronny. Some people immediately dismissed the footage because it was just workouts. Others argued that social media has created an environment where every decent training clip becomes overhyped instantly.
It was just his basketball savviness, like his basketball IQ. Like, he can do it all. Like, I feel like he hasn't shown that he can really be elite at a lot of things, but I think he can be elite at a lot of things.
But here's the part nobody's talking about. The reason these clips matter has less to do with the made shots and more to do with how comfortable Bronny looked physically and mentally. Young players usually struggle most when they're overthinking everything. You can literally see it happen in their movements. They hesitate on drives, second-guess passes, and play scared of making mistakes. Bronny didn't look like that in this footage. He looked loose, aggressive, and confident. That's a major difference. And honestly, confidence might be the biggest battle of Bronny's entire career, because unlike most young NBA players, he's developing under a microscope that almost nobody else has ever experienced. Every single thing he does becomes content online. Every missed shot trends, every highlight trends. Every stat line becomes a debate about nepotism, pressure, expectations, or legacy. Imagine trying to improve as a young player while millions of people are constantly waiting to either crown you or clown you after every performance. That kind of pressure destroys a lot of players mentally. And to Bronny's credit, he's handled it better than most people probably expected. He doesn't talk much publicly, he doesn't overreact online, he just keeps working. And that steady approach is probably a huge reason why these recent workout clips looked so much more polished. Development in basketball usually happens slowly behind the scenes before fans suddenly notice it all at once. What also makes this situation fascinating is the timing. The Lakers are entering a really important stretch organizationally. LeBron James is still playing at a high level, but everyone understands the reality that the end of his career is getting closer. Every season now feels connected to the bigger question of legacy, succession, and what comes next after LeBron eventually retires. That automatically puts more focus on Bronny, whether people think it's fair or not. Because for a lot of fans, Bronny represents more than just a basketball prospect. He represents continuation. He represents the possibility of the James name still existing inside the NBA after LeBron is gone. And emotionally, that creates investment from fans in a way that normal second-round prospects never experience. Most young guards fighting for rotation minutes don't have entire television segments dedicated to their off-season workouts. Bronny does. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They start trying to prove everybody wrong all at once, instead of focusing on one role they can dominate consistently. That's especially dangerous for players with superstar expectations attached to them. Sometimes young guards feel pressure to become instant scorers or flashy playmakers because social media rewards highlights more than winning basketball. But Bronny's pathway into becoming a successful NBA player has always been pretty clear. Defense, energy, smart decision-making, and reliable shooting. That's the formula. And honestly, the leaked footage actually supported that exact developmental path. He didn't look like somebody trying to imitate LeBron. He looked like a young guard sharpening the specific skills that can keep him in the league long-term. Better footwork defensively, cleaner jump shooting mechanics, more physical strength, faster reactions. Those things matter far more than trying to become a superstar overnight. There's also another layer to this conversation that people forget sometimes. Bronny is still incredibly young compared to many NBA players fans already judge harshly. Development timelines in basketball are not linear. Some guards explode immediately at 19 years old. Others don't fully figure things out until they're 23 or 24. The NBA is filled with players who looked average early, before suddenly becoming key contributors once the game slowed down mentally for them. And the game clearly seems to be slowing down for Bronny right now. You can tell by the pacing. Young players who are overwhelmed usually move too fast or too cautiously. Bronny looked balanced. He looked under control. Even his body language looked more mature compared to previous footage fans had seen from him. Those little details matter because coaches notice them too. NBA organizations care a lot about whether young players are processing information confidently. Now, does this automatically mean Bronny is about to become a star? No, and anybody saying that based off workout footage alone is probably getting carried away. But it does suggest real progress. And progress is the most important thing for any young player trying to establish themselves professionally, especially one carrying expectations this massive. Another reason the footage gains so much traction is because NBA fans are always searching for the leap. Every offseason, people look for clues about which young players are about to take unexpected jumps. Sometimes it's a body transformation, sometimes it's shooting improvement, sometimes it's just confidence. Fans want to believe they're spotting the breakout before everyone else notices it officially. And with Bronny, people desperately want clarity. They want to know whether he's actually becoming a legitimate NBA player or whether the attention surrounding him will always outweigh the production. That tension is why every clip becomes a debate online instantly. But the Lakers themselves probably care far less about social media reactions than fans do. Internally, development is usually measured through consistency. Are the habits improving daily? Is conditioning getting better? Is defensive positioning becoming more reliable? Is the shooting translating during real team action? Those are the questions that actually determine whether a player earns trust from coaches. And trust is everything for young guards in the NBA, especially on a roster trying to compete immediately. That's another challenge Bronny faces that people overlook. He's not developing on a rebuilding team, where mistakes come without consequences. The Lakers are constantly under pressure to win games. Every rotation decision gets criticized publicly. Every minute matters. So for Bronny to carve out a real role, he has to become dependable fast. The good news for him is that dependable players often last longer than flashy ones. Coaches love guards who defend hard, move the ball correctly, make open shots, and avoid careless mistakes. And if this leaked footage is actually showing genuine development instead of random off-season highlights, then Bronny may be closer to becoming that type of player than many fans originally thought. Still, the bigger legacy conversation will never disappear. As long as LeBron James is in the league, Bronny's story will always feel tied to his father's career. Every improvement gets connected back to legacy. Every opportunity gets connected back to family history. That's unavoidable at this point. But eventually, Bronny is going to have to build his own basketball identity separate from all of that. And maybe that process quietly started with these viral clips. Because for the first time in a while, people weren't just talking about Bronny as LeBron's son. They were talking about him as a player who might actually be improving faster than expected. That's a completely different conversation. And now the pressure shifts again. Because once fans start believing improvement is real, expectations rise immediately. Suddenly, people expect rotation minutes. Then they expect impact. Then they expect consistency. That's how quickly narratives move in today's NBA. So now the biggest question becomes simple. Are these viral workout clips the first real sign that Bronny James is turning into a legitimate NBA rotation player right before everyone's eyes? Or are fans once again overreacting to off-season footage because of the name attached to the jersey? Because if the confidence, shooting, and physical improvement from those leaked sessions actually carry over into real NBA games, then this entire conversation around Bronny James could look completely different by the end of next season.